What's going on, everyone? Dave K here to talk a little bit about the unofficial news that Walt Disney World will be closing from this weekend to the end of the month. The end of the month of March here. Really busy, seems like a really crazy time in terms of just general health. We want to make sure we're all staying healthy out there. And there's one really big thing I want to address on this point, make sure I'm touching base with you on, and that is remaining positive and the importance of positivity. You know me, I really like to focus on and spread those positive vibes. And it's important that people keep this in mind, the positivity. I want to reiterate the importance of positivity. That's a big thing I like to focus on my channel is positivity. And the parks will reopen, right? The virus will go away at one point and we will be able to move past this. So something to keep in mind is staying positive, don't letting this stress you out or get worried. And as you can see, currently at Disney World right now, again, this was just announced. This was a brand new announcement, so might not be going out too much. You still want to make sure you're being careful. So this is probably going to be the last time I'm out for a while. We'll see what that looks like. But you want to make sure you're washing your hands and taking care of yourself. But otherwise, again, making sure you're staying happy and positive and continuing to keep in mind that this will pass, right? Like all other viruses we've seen in the past, the virus will go. It'll be something that passes by, and it's not something that you have to spend too much time worrying about. You don't want to let it take away from your everyday life, right? I like to speak to the importance, again, of remaining positive and really focusing on those goals and those objectives that drive you. And it's really easy to get consumed by the risk and the danger and the scary. And that is quite common when it comes to viruses you hear in the news and that kind of thing. And I want to make sure, again, I'm reminding you of how fortunate we are to be able to experience these things, that we're able to quickly react, and that we're able to be proactive, for example, close these parks and make sure we're taking care of ourselves to really minimize that risk. Not to mention, of course, the benefits of being able to stay in our homes, right? We have that space where we can keep ourselves safe and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of positives to be thankful for and to appreciate. And I know it can be challenging in this kind of time, but again, I want to do everything that I can to help bring that positivity to you as we're going through this situation. Now, does this mean that the videos will change? Most likely it does, at least temporarily. You're most likely to see more home videos. Maybe we can make a silver lining of this and do a lot of fun gaming. How does gaming sound to you? And I'm sure there'll be lots of studio videos as well, just kind of talking about general, whether it's healthy food and healthy living, positivity and happiness. I want to focus on that a lot more too, right? And bringing positivity and happiness to your lives. And also, I love being funny and silly and that kind of entertainment. So make sure you keep your eyes and ears open for some of that as well. So many different fun adventures I can bring to you without having to worry about necessarily going out and sharing those. So don't worry, the adventures will continue. They may shift, who knows, schedule may even adjust a little bit. And that's something I'd already been thinking about it is a lot to try to push out daily videos. But let me know how much you love those daily videos. I was thinking about maybe we'll make it 5-6 days a week. We'll see. But that's another change I was thinking about making, kind of inconsequential here. But really, again, I want to focus on making sure you're keeping in mind all that we're fortunate to have and how it's easy to get carried away, but I feel like there's so much more negative. If you think about it, there's so much more negative to getting consumed with the stress and the concern of things like the virus, whereas there's so much opportunity to just, again, be happy and be positive and really enjoy that everyday life. It doesn't do you any really good value to stress and to worry excessively, right? To do those sorts of things. You do want to be cautious and make sure you're washing your hands and taking care of those sorts of things. But overly stressing doesn't help you and can take away from that everyday life. So something to keep in mind is really the benefits of remaining calm and being peaceful and happy in your everyday life. And it's also really nice to kind of, in the midst of talking about calm and peaceful positivity here, maybe some of the last fireworks I'll come out and see for a while. Again, only a couple more days they're going to be doing them before they close it down for a while. So hopefully you can see those going off behind me here. They might have just been slowing them down right back. There you go, right past that ferry dock there. So nice to see those. And again, the adventures will continue, right? The virus will calm down. The parks will reopen at some point. Can't say we know when. And that's another sort of question. I know maybe concern for some people is maybe you have trips planned. You're thinking about going to Disney World. And at the present time, I'd read that Universal hasn't made any changes in terms of their park schedule and operating hours are remaining the same. But we'll see if that remains the same. But how long is this going to last? I know there's a lot of questions on that. And the way I look at it is these parks and sort of the government is going to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to take care of ourselves, right? Make sure that we're watching over our people. And if Disney decides the parks need to be closed for an extended period of time. I'm not going to say like 4 months or anything, but if they said something along those lines, I would trust that it's for the best and it's for all of our health and well-being, and we're going to make sure that we come up with other fun adventures to share and fun things to do in that same time. So I just want to let you know again, whatever the resolution may be, however long it may take for the virus to clear, it's for our health and our well-being as a society and as a people. We want to make sure, again, we're taking care of everyone that we can and minimizing the risk of exposure to the illness. But again, keeping in mind the fact that at the end of the day, the virus will pass, the parks will reopen, and life will go on. In addition to Disney World announcing their closure, you may have heard Disneyland announced their closure even prior to this, and several of the parks overseas have already been closed. It sounds like Disneyland Paris is closed as well here, closing the same time as Disney World. Again, official, unofficial. Didn't see any Disney news yet, but a lot of reputable news sources, ABC, and ABC's owned by Disney, so you would imagine that's pretty much as reputable as we need here. But it definitely sounds like it's officially unofficial, and that sort of. I'm pretty sure that means official at that point. I love showing you the fireworks here while we're talking. Another thing on this is the cruises. The cruises have been halted with a departure date, I want to say after this weekend as well, through the end of the month, at least for now. And you may be asking yourself, you may be asking, Dave, what are your predictions on this, right? We know Walt Disney World closed, and Walt Disney World is closing for the month, but how long do you think it'll be closed for, and how do you kind of envision this going? My guess is, my assumption is, we're kind of in the early beginning stages here, where I think, honestly, if I had to speculate, I think this closure is most likely going to last a little bit longer than the end of this month. It might be another month, or it might be another 2, but whatever it may be, again, I believe that it's for the best, it's for our well-being. So I will be minimizing my exposure and going out as much as possible in terms of making sure that I'm staying well, but at the same time, being positive, enjoying life, doing all kinds of fun stuff, like maybe sharing some gaming adventures or some home adventures with you. So again, there's so much to do, even though we may have those restrictions. And I've got a couple of other projects that I'm still working on. Hopefully, I can patch something together on those and try to get that first music video. I've been working on a new music video, and I think I've got enough scenes. Here today, I covered most of them. Maybe I can put together some scenes from some previous adventures to bring you that music video as well, so you still get to see some in-park adventures, maybe a couple days delayed here in terms of some of the content I'm working on, so you'll get to see those park adventures as well that I haven't posted yet. And I know this topic is on a lot of people's minds, and a lot of people are disheartened about this news, right? You can hear people talking about it. That sadness is definitely there, where people know that it's going to impact their vacations, or if they're already here on vacation, maybe taking away. But at the same time, again, I think most people understand the importance of it and making sure that we're taking care of ourselves. So the current announcement is that Disney Springs will remain open and the resorts will remain open. So if you have a vacation planned, hypothetically, you could still go to those resorts or go to Disney Springs. Or if you're here right now, you can enjoy the resorts and you can enjoy a bit of Disney Springs without necessarily visiting the parks. And I feel like that's a really interesting decision as well. It makes sense because you want to make sure there's still something for those who are here to be able to enjoy. Maybe those who are in resorts don't have much of another option, right? It can be tricky where you're trying to coordinate new plans if the resort is closing. So to be able to leave that resort open is kind of a nice sort of protection so that people can continue to stay in those resorts or keep those plans or go to the Springs if they're in the area and don't necessarily have the opportunity to go to those parks. And we'll see how things continue to progress on this. But my big takeaway and something I want to continue to communicate to you, the importance on this one, the point I'm trying to convey is remember to stay positive, to stay happy. Don't let things stress you out. But at the same time, you want to be sure you're cautious. You want to be sure you're careful and taking care of yourself in enjoying those fireworks from a video perspective as opposed to walking over to those parks and seeing the fireworks because they're going to close. So cautious, but not stressed, all right? You want to make sure you're taking those precautions, being safe and careful, and at the same time, not stressing out too much. There have always been other situations like this one, right? It's not the first time that there's ever been a virus going around. I know it's challenging for a lot of people, but just make sure that you are not letting it stress you out too much or impact your day-to-day life. Besides, of course, washing your hands, but hopefully you were already doing that. This is kind of a side piece, but a piece you may have heard me touch on in the past here, and it's regarding the impact not just to the parks, and I'm going to tie this in, I guess it's kind of relevant to the parks, but also a lot of cruise lines, a lot of airlines taking kind of a hit in terms of the stock market as well. If you've been keeping up with the market, actually today was one of the worst days the stock market has seen since about 2008 or even before 2008. And that is a very scary thing as well. I think that speaks a lot to kind of people's nerves when it comes to this virus and how they think the virus is going to impact the market. Obviously, the virus is going to impact that cruise industry, the airline industry, and maybe that'll be enough to kind of impact some of these other industries, right? People may be traveling less and going out less and spending less on those sorts of things. But it definitely seems like, at least in terms of a lot of investors' concerns, they're really worried about the impact of the particular virus on the market. And I can't say, I'm no professional and I don't have any advice on that. I can't give you any advice on that, and I'm no professional when it comes to finance. But what this says to me is people are worried, not just in the terms of theme parks, but in terms of the overall economy. And I can understand the concern, right? Things are going to slow down, definitely, and people are going to be going out less and traveling less while this virus is in place. But again, if you can try to be as positive as you can be, try to remain happy, and make sure you're taking care of those precautions and minimizing your visibility, or your, what would you call it, minimizing your exposure to the virus, but at the same time, again, enjoying life, spending time with family. You know, really easy, nice, positive thing to be able to do. And maybe a silver lining. If you're having an opportunity right now, I know a lot of people are getting the opportunity to work from home. So maybe this is an easy way for you to not have to worry about that extra hour commuting home from work or commuting to work. Or maybe even you just have all this time off work. Some companies even paying employees for this time they're not able to go into work. Maybe this means you get to spend that much more time with family. So looking at that silver lining and being able to enjoy those little things, appreciate those details of the situation is how I choose to go about this sort of thing. And I would recommend, if you can, do that as well. But obviously, the choice is yours if you want to let it stress you out. But my goal here, and something I like to really do whenever I get the chance, is to bring that happiness, bring that positivity to you, try to inspire you and motivate you to live the best possible life you have. And in my opinion, one of the most important things in life is happiness and really enjoying life and trying to remain positive. And so that's what I'm here to help you do, if I can, if that's something that you value. So that covers most of my thoughts on the virus, the situation, kind of how things are going to move forward, and my mindset around it. So again, positivity, but it is challenging. Park's going to be closed, not going to be able to go out and do as much, but you got to remain positive where you can, try to see the silver lining. What do you think of that mindset? What do you think of that approach? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked this little speech here, let me know, and make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I've been thinking about more kind of motivational videos to kind of inspire you, in addition to entertaining you, making you laugh. So let me know what you think about that. And if you haven't already, for more fun adventures, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay informed. And until next time, play on. It is kind of sad to think that maybe the last fireworks show I see here at Disney for maybe a month plus, I'm not 100% sure, at least a couple of weeks, since Disney will be closed for a couple of weeks. But again, we'll move forward, we'll move on, we can look back and reflect on some of those other videos during the closure, and I'm sure you'll see some of those in the cards and that kind of thing. And of course, we're going to look forward to those future adventures, be positive, and enjoy the situation that we have, right? So gaming, maybe some more live streams of the gaming. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to those and that sort of thing. Definitely keep your eyes open for all kinds of fun we'll share with you. And an additional update, which I just heard, kind of tweeted out, and this one was from Universal Orlando, so that one's officially official, whereas Disney's is, I feel like, unofficially official, but it's officially official since it was big news sources. But Universal Orlando has officially announced on their personal Twitter, saying Universal is going to be closed that same date, Sunday, March 15th, most likely through the end of the month as well. Continue monitoring that situation and that sort of thing. Several of them also mentioned that they're going to continue to pay employees, Universal said, for any scheduled work, whereas it sounds like Disney's going to, I'm not 100% sure on all that. I'm no expert on exactly kind of what that looks like for hourly employees. Maybe if you have any insights on that, feel free to share as well. But it's a challenging situation, right? Everyone's want to make sure they're cautious and they're monitoring everything that's going on, and we're doing the best we can to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and those around us. So make sure that you're staying safe out there, remaining positive, making the most you can of every day, and at the same time, make sure you're being cautious as well. Make sure you wash your hands, and game on, play on.